Hi friends, today I will show you the POC of XXE. This is not a new vulnerability, but yes, this is very important. So I will show you the POC. Before that, let me tell you what XXE is. An XML external entity injection is a serious flaw that allows an attacker to read local files on the server, access internal networks, scan internal ports, or execute commands on a remote server. It targets applications that parse XMLs. This attack occurs when an XML input containing references to an external entity is processed by weakly configured XML parsers. The attacker takes advantage of it by embedding malicious inline document type definitions in the XML data. When the web server processes the malicious XML input, the entities are expanded, which results in potentially gaining access to web server's file system, remote file system, or establishing connection to arbitrary host of HTTP or HTTPS. There are various type of attack scenario. It depends upon you how creative you are, but basically there are two types. One is LFI, means local file inclusion, and another one is XX, server file through file upload functionality. Suppose if you are uploading a file which is in docs, PPT, SVG, or any XML MIME kind of file. If you are able to upload and web server is not able to verify which kind of file it is and what is the content of it, then maybe you can execute XXE payload on that web application. When the server parses that payload get executed, resulting in the disclosure of sensitive information of a server on the client side. So friends, this was the basic of XXE. Now I will show you the real world example of it. Now friends, we will see the practical scenario of this XXE attack. This application is taking an XXE input. You can see this is an entity. The value of this entity is Bhavesh. This is reflected over here also. If we change this to any other value, it is also reflecting here. So what we can calculate? We can calculate that we can create any payload, and that payload will be executed on this web page without any proper validation. So what we can create? We can create XML entities over here by which we can exploit the system or web application. Now, how to create the payload? So we have to create we have to create one XML entity. So how we can create means XML entity is like doc type a entity, name of the entity, value of that entity, and just call that entity like method call the name of that entity and just close it. Now copy this and do a URL encoding. Just encode it, and you will see the encoding format. Just come over here, copy paste, and execute. See, you can see that it is reflecting. Okay, vulnerable is reflecting, so that we can understand the payload which we have created is reflecting. Now what inputs we can give over here? In place of here, we can put okay. Now let's check it out. You can see that we got etc password file. The same way we can exploit others too. So now you understood how to create the payload. See, first we printed our external input. Again, we printed the etc password of that particular web application. Now, what we can do, we can take any file from the server and we can read that. For that, what we need to do is, in place of here, put this thing. Okay, now convert it to URL encoding. See, you got the code of the index.php file. Now, what you can do, this is in hex 64 encoding. So you can decode it. Just copy and see, this is the whole code of that PHP file. PHP require header.php. We can get header.php also now. Just decode it. And you will get, see, you can see each and everything of that file. You can see here the code lines behind them. So in this way, just because of this application is taking input as an XML format from the user, it is not validating it, we can compromise the whole application. Now, if you target the real world applications, in this way you can get this. Suppose this is a website and this is XML RPC input it is taking. Okay, so here you can see what we can do here. If we have created a doc type, the same name, vulnerable, and we are calling that method, and let's check whether it is executing or not. But right now it is not executing. See, failed to pass the request, failed to pass the request. Suppose if we do something wrong over here, see, invalid request, no method passed, or something like that. So here what we are doing, we are doing everything correct, but this application is not vulnerable to XML vulnerability. Suppose if this vulnerable will be reflected over here, then what? Then you know this web application is vulnerable to XML external entity injection, and you can pass the payloads which I have shown into the video, and in this way you can hack this whole application. So this was it, my friends. Thank you for watching.